Alright, here we go once more, everyone, with more of the house in Fata Morgana. I want to thank you all for the likes and support you continue to show this series. It really means a lot to me. So, we're currently still on the male storyline, and it seems like we're about maybe getting past the halfway point. So, we're going to see how it goes and continue further, guys. So, I hope you all continue to enjoy watching, and let's get to it. Alright, guys, and we are back. So, you don't have to be so closed off. I might not be able to do much for you, but I do want to get to know you better. I want to understand you. So if you ever feel like talking about yourself, just know that you've got an eager pair of ears here. Okay? If there were ever someone who could understand me, who could empathize with me, they would not be human. What do you mean? That you would need to be far removed from any idea of humanity to have a chance at understanding me. Regardless, I do appreciate your kind words. Sure. So, out of curiosity, do you have anyone really important to you in your life? Not at the moment. Does that mean you used to? I'd love to hear about them, if you don't mind. They're all long dead. 4 years ago, something unpleasant occurred, and as a result of that, I was forced to part ways with the people who taught me that humans have the capability for kindness. Oh, I'm sorry. Well then, if your sister's condition worsens again, come see me. Farewell. Hey, maybe we could talk a little slower next time, so we have more time to talk. Walk a little slower, sorry. I want to get to know you better. I'll consider it. Does it really require that much thought? So long. Bye. See you soon. Things continued on like that for a while. Nellie bounced back and forth between getting better and getting worse. Emotionally, I followed not far behind, getting very little in the way of peace of mind. Having to spend so much time worrying over and looking after Nellie was starting to wear me out. Even though I knew good and well she had it much worse than me. I wanted to be done with it all. I wanted to be free. I wanted her to get better as soon as possible, so I could stop agonizing over her. So at some point, I started wishing for a miracle. I didn't care if it came from God, an angel, or something less holy. I just wanted someone to cure Nellie and take the weight off my shoulders. And during one of our walks, I let that slip. I'll take anything at this point to make her better. I'll even take a miracle if I can get one. I assumed she would, as she had a tendency to say that people who believe in miracles were delusional. She was, in my mind, very much a realist, which is why her response surprised me so much. Do you sincerely wish for a miracle? What? Do you truly want a miracle no matter what form it may take? Well, yeah. I've tried everything else. God is all I can ask for help anymore. I know what you're gonna say. There's no such thing as miracles. If there were, Nellie would already be better. I prayed every single night for her recovery. It's all just a delusion, I know. Miracles do exist. What? If you have faith, and you sincerely wish for her to be healed, you will be granted your miracle. What are you talking about, Morgana? You've said many times that you wish to know more about me. Yeah, I have. Well, I'll grant you that wish. As you listen to my story, you will come to understand why I said I will never be able to empathize with me. Why you would never be able to empathize with me. And as you do, hope will sprout up within you. Here in my lakeside cottage, I am known as a witch, but I did not used to be called such. No, I am the daughter of God. Most people would dismiss such a claim as madness, and I almost did exactly that. But there was something strangely enchanting about her voice, and I found myself slowly drawn into her tale, listening intently to her every word. The more I heard, the harder it was to believe she was lying. And before long, I was convinced she was the daughter of God, a saint whose blood had miraculous powers. Her first cry ended a lengthy drought in the village where she was born, and her blood cured the sick. She rolled up one sleeve to show me her arm. Practically every inch of skin from her shoulder to the tips of her fingers was scarred from where she had been cut. According to her, the scarring had once been far worse, but had improved with the application of ointment. Every single one of those scars, she said, marked the person who had sought her blood, and I believed every word. There was something about her that set her apart from the rest of us normal people, like she was some higher being. They were not self-inflicted wounds, not the marks of someone who had tried to take her own life, but symbols of the great sacrifices she had made. She offered to give Nellie her blood, and without a moment's hesitation, I accepted. Mel. Hey Nellie, I'm back. And I brought someone with me. A saint. A saint? Yep, she's here because medicine hasn't been working for you. She can perform miracles, so she's going to cure you. Miracles? That's right. Her blood has miraculous healing powers. I was going to say properties. Same thing, I guess. Blood? Fear not, my beloved sister. Hear my words and do as I say. You must have faith for the miracle to be performed correctly. I give you my blessing that it may bestow onto you salvation. I give you my love, and I give you relief. Hear my words. I hear them. This body was created not in mortal womb. This flesh is not the flesh of a man. This blood is not the blood of man. The water that flows through these holy veins flows from the river of creation. Have mercy on them, O Father. May the infirm find comfort in your warmth. May the destitute find reprieve in your generosity. May my flesh bring nourishment and health unto this girl. Bestow upon her your blessing, O Father. Morgana held a pale hand above Nellie's mouth and, without hesitation, sliced her own wrist. Blood slowly trickled down her middle finger from the cut, dripping into the gap between Nellie's bluish lips. I stood there entranced by the scene. It was like I was witnessing some kind of ritual. I wasn't sure, however, whether to describe it as sacred or profane. Watching the fresh blood trickle from the cut on her wrist made me break out into a sweat, feeling like I was violating a taboo. My knees rattled and I could barely stay on my feet. Needles pricked my hands. Thoughts slipped through my fingers before they could fully form. Had I crossed a line that wasn't meant to be crossed? Had I stepped into territory man was never supposed to enter? In time, I stopped processing Morgana's prayers as words. It became nothing but a rhythmical sequence of sounds bouncing around in my head. My line of sight grew gradually narrower. Right? What? Huh? Are you alright? The ceremony's complete. How's Nellie? She's asleep right now, but you should awaken soon. Good. My blood has the power to cause miracles, but you must remember that the miracle is predicated on your faith. So, are you saying we need to worship you? No, I am merely God's progeny. Your praises and prayers should be directed at my Father, the Lord God. I should get going then. Hey, thank you very much. When Morgana had said I would never be able to understand or empathize with her, she had not been lying. Having only heard her tell of it, I still believed there was room for me to close the gap between us, that we still had enough in common. But seeing it with my own eyes, feeling it with my entire being, I no longer had any illusions of us being on the same plane. As I gave her my thanks, my voice was audibly trembling. Mel, come on, get up, dearest Mel. Oh, Mel. Nellie? Ah, finally, you're awake, sleepyhead. What's with the look? Am I making a funny face? Are you good to be up and about? Yep, I woke up this morning feeling wonderful. Feel my forehead, Mel. See? No fever. It is. It's gone. She actually performed the miracle. I only remember bits and pieces, but I remember a really pretty saint lady showing up and giving me her blood. That's how she remembers it. Her memory is pretty hazy, huh? And then I got this warm and fuzzy feeling inside me. Then I had this really strange dream. What kind of dream? There were a whole bunch of lights floating all around me, and they were changing into all sorts of different colors. It was the most wonderful dream. That doesn't help me understand at all, Nelly. It was a good dream, and that's what matters. It must have been the Saint Lady's powers at work. Must be, yeah. I'm so relieved you're feeling better, Nelly. Sorry for all the trouble I've caused you, but now everything can go back to normal. Yep, all back to normal. She wants to thank me? Yeah, Nellie's insisting I let you meet her so she can show her gratitude. So if it's alright, would you mind coming to supper sometime? That would probably not be wise. Huh? Why not? It would hardly be pleasant having to eat in the presence of a face as grotesque as mine, and I doubt your sister would react well to the sight of it. I don't think it would cause any problems. Nellie isn't the kind of girl to judge someone by their looks, I don't think. Perhaps not, but to her, I'm a saint, not a normal person. In her mind, she thinks I'm beautiful, doesn't she? We must maintain that illusion. It is essential to the miracle that her faith remains unwavering, and on some level, that faith depends on her idealized image of me. Do you think so? Though our time together was brief, I could see it in her. She is a girl with a great love of beauty. And perhaps the same could be said of you. I don't judge people by how they look. It's what's inside that matters. I'll take you at your word. Thanks. So, are you sure you don't want to come? I really shouldn't. I'm terribly sorry. Oh, okay. Why in the world am I feeling relieved? Nellie recovering was a huge weight off my shoulders. Now everything could go back to the way it was, quiet and unremarkable. I could finally go out and get a real job, forget about my old life, live like a regular old commoner. That was what I was going to do for the both of us. The problem was, Nellie hadn't actually recovered completely. She was in nearly perfect health the first few days after drinking Morgana's blood, but soon her fever came back. She stopped being able to get out of bed, and to top it all off, she started having lengthy coughing fits. During some of them, she coughed up little bits of bloody phlegm. I nearly had a panic attack, so I rushed down to Morgana's cottage and told her what was happening, to which she responded with a quizzical tilt of her head. Nellie's health meant everything to me. It certainly wasn't the curiosity her head tilt seemed to make it out to be, but it didn't seem to bother her at all. The miracle took place, but it didn't persist. It doesn't make much sense. But it's true, she can't get out of bed, and it's not a problem with her faith. I've been teaching her the word of God every night, and she absolutely believes in you, in her saint. Lower your voice. I'll perform another miracle for her. You'll do it again? I will not forsake those who are in need. And it'll stick this time, right? I cannot promise anything. But why? Your miracles aren't supposed to be temporary, are they? Whether they are or not is not decided by you and your sister. Or is decided by you and your sister. You're my only hope, though. Please do not worry. If a second blessing is not enough to cure her of her ailment, then I will visit and give her my blood as many times as necessary. I will gladly give her every last drop of blood in my body. I assure you, my father does not want to see two young souls like yourselves torn apart. And neither do I. We should get going. Alright. For the second time, Morgana had Nellie drink of her blood. And for the second time, she was healthy again the next morning. And for the second time, she fell ill again shortly thereafter. Her fever returned. I went to get Morgana, and she gave Nellie her blood. The cycle repeated again and again. And every time, I had to watch her go through that ceremony. It was exhausting. And I wasn't sure I could handle it much longer. I started thinking maybe there wasn't anything sacred about any of this. That it was as blasphemous as it looked from the outside. I was making a girl cut her own wrist and feed my sister her blood. Nothing about that sounded right. But I had nowhere else to go. No one else to ask for help. When I was with Morgana, listening to her words of reassurance, she without fail wiped away all the doubt I had. It wasn't until after she left that wave of regret hit me. I wasn't sure what was right and wrong anymore. I wasn't sure what to do anymore. Every time I went to see Morgana, it got more and more difficult to look her in the eye. I stopped asking her on walks as often, and I stopped trying to have chats with her, not so much out of sense of guilt, but because I was getting to be afraid of her. One of those draining days, someone knocked on the door. I hadn't asked Morgana to come down that day, so I wasn't sure who it could be. Nellie was asleep in her bed, so I quietly rose from my seat and made my way to the door, trying not to wake her. Who is it? Hello, who's there? I had an inkling of suspicion, but having been raised in such a sheltered environment, I didn't understand exactly how dangerous it was to thoughtlessly open the door to anyone who came knocking. I pulled the door inward a couple of inches and tried to take a peek through the crack. When out of nowhere, someone grabbed my shoulder and shoved me helpless to resist into the house. A man stood there above me. Ah, it's this guy. What do you think you're doing? What do you want from me? I don't have anything valuable. I'm just a regular old peasant. I am not here to rob you. What? You're in contact with the witch, are you not? Huh? The girl who lives by the lake calls herself a witch. Witch? I don't know any witch. The only one who lives there is a saint. A saint? I was told she was a witch. But regardless, there's a girl who lives there with a miracle blood, no? Looks like I've got the right person. What do you want from me? I want you to help me. Huh? I need you to lure the witch out into the open. And why do you need that? Because I need her blood. I need to get my hands on the witch's miracle blood. Then go ask her for it yourself. Why should I have to help you? She won't open the door for me. But you, I've seen you talking to her. You seem to be quite friendly with the witch. Taking little walks around the lake. How? I need your help. And what are you going to do once you have her outside? I have orders from the Lord to take her captive. What? The Lord? Why would he? This is none of your concern. Hold on, messed up on that one. Let's see. You expect me to buy that? All I need from you is to get the witch out of that house. Why would I? She doesn't trust me. I could always force my way in, but there's a chance something might go wrong, and I can't risk that. If she hears your voice, she'll open the door, yes? The witch trusts you, unlike me. With your help, there's no risk of anything going wrong. No. You barge in here and tell me you want to capture her, and you think I'm just going to agree to help? Like hell I will. Oh, don't worry. You'll get your share. You need the witch's blood too, right? I don't care about getting a share. You're asking me to deceive her. I don't care what you think she is. She hasn't done anything wrong. So no, I won't help you capture her. You leave me no choice then. What? He approached the bed where Nellie slept, drawing his sword and pressing the tip against her throat. It happened so quickly and without any warning my mind couldn't keep up. I stood there, mouth half open like an idiot. If I were courageous, if I were gallant and brave, then maybe I would have grabbed him, pulled him away from Nellie. But my legs seemed to be severed from my mind. They were frozen to the floor like two useless rocks. You have two options. Either you say no and protect the witch, get away, or you help me capture her. Get away from her right now. And if you choose the witch, I'll kill the girl. Get away! Make your decision. Get away from her! You have until the count of 10. If you don't choose, I kill the girl. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. Okay, I'll do it. I'll help you. So get your sword out of her face. Don't kill her. I thought you'd hold on to the last second. Well, what are you waiting for? Let's get going. Get moving. You pitiful little boy. I felt like jumping into a lake. I couldn't make sense of how I had ended up in such a position. Just a few months earlier, I had been living back at my family's estate, hardly a worry in the world. Nellie had been healthy and happy. It hadn't been exciting, no, but I figured that was how things would always be. That one day, I would fall for some noble girl, Nellie would get jealous, and I would have to spend several days or even weeks pacifying her. Everyone would be happy, a life free of troubles. Because that was normal, and I was normal. So what was I doing living in some tiny cottage so far from home? Feeding my sick sister miracle blood. What was I doing walking beside the barbarian? What was I doing at all? I was conflicted. Part of me hoped we would never arrive at the lake, and part of me wanted to get there as quickly as possible so I could be done with all this. But time plodded on no quicker or slower than normal, and we arrived at Morgana's door in short order, irrespective of my own selfish hopes. The thought of what was going to happen next filled me with a crushing sense of guilt. I may have been afraid of Morgana, but I had no grudge against her. I was actually quite grateful to her. She was still healing. She was still healing Nellie, even if the ceremony to do so inspired fear in me. She didn't hesitate to cut her own wrist open for Nellie and for me. She didn't grimace or even frown, though I knew it had to hurt. I knew damn well she wasn't a bad person, that she hadn't done anything to warrant being taken into custody. She might very well have been a genuine saint. But there I was, selling her out because a man with a sword threatened me. Oh, Father who art in heaven, please forgive me for what I'm about to do. Please, please forgive me. Quit sniveling. You want her to get suspicious? Yeah, but how? I can't. Please, oh God. Stop crying. Or would you rather I kill you here? Just close your eyes. It'll be over before you know it. Do it. Call on the witch. Who's there? It's me. I'm not here about Nellie today. I'm sorry for being so distant lately. I want to talk things over. I thought I heard a faint gasp through the door, and then she responded. I want to talk to you too. Why? Why did you have to want to talk now? She had always been so curt, so rational, so quick to cut down my fantasies, never one to get emotional or sentimental. She had always given off the impression of being something greater than mere humans. Always been so aloof, never giving any indication she thought anything of me at all. So why? Why did she sound like a normal girl now? Why was her voice trembling slightly when she said she wanted to talk? Why now of all times? Oh man, this is gonna suck. Ah! I knew it. Oh, that sucks. Get back! No! Stay away from me! Help! Don't kill me! Take it. What? That's your share. Should last you long enough. Why? Why did you take my arm? What do you mean by share? What? Why? It all happened in less than a minute. I told her I wanted to talk. She opened the door. Then I heard the sound like the wind whipping past my ear. And the next thing I knew, her cottage was covered in blood. Never once did I expect anything to happen how it did. When he had said he wanted to capture her, I took it to mean exactly that. I hadn't thought he would turn brutal. That he would do something so horrific. After the man cut her arm off, Morgana tumbled to the floor, floundering about as he watched blood trickling down the curved blade in his hand. Her screams were indistinguishable from those of a normal person. Ah! 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 Oh! Ah! Arm! Her arm! Ah! Kneeling in the grass of the lakeshore, I vomited and I vomited and I vomited. The things I had seen in the cabin were far too much for me to handle. I tossed the arm, Morgana's arm, the man had given me into the lake. What else was I supposed to do with it? It was an arm, a human arm. You would have to be insane to go around carrying someone's severed arm. I tried to convince myself it was all a dream, some terrible nightmare, but I could still feel the warmth of her skin fresh on my hands, the warmth of her blood on my fingers, dragging me back to reality. My mind couldn't keep up with the flood of thoughts and emotions and images. I wanted to close my eyes, but I was too afraid I would find the bloodbath in the cottage on the back of my eyelids, which left me with nothing to do but wail. I was horrified at what I had done. I knew that I was the one who had set it all in motion. If I had kept quiet, Morgana wouldn't have had her arm cut off, but I didn't want to admit it was my fault. I didn't want to accept that I had caused it. I did nothing wrong. It's not my fault. He threatened me, so it's not my fault. I had no choice. I didn't do anything. I frantically scrubbed my blood-soaked clothes in the lake. As I watched the red cloud spread, I knew I was defiling something pure and beautiful, but my awareness of that fact was slowly dissipating like the blood through the clear water. By the time I had gotten all the blood off my clothes, the sun was beginning to set. I came back to my senses at the sound of a bird chirping and quickly recalled that I had left Nellie alone at the house. My legs were shaking and I could barely keep myself upright, but remembering her gave me enough motivation to drag myself back home. If she hadn't been there waiting for me, I seriously might have thrown myself into the lake instead. Mel? What's the matter, dearest Mel? Where have you been? Mel? I'm so sorry. What? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Will you ever be able to forgive me? Dearest Mel? I never meant for this to happen. I'm so sorry. Please. I'm begging you to forgive me. I'm begging you. Were you not able to get my medicine? Is that what you're crying about? It's not that big of a deal, Mel. I'm just fine, honest. I'm alright. Thanks. I wanted to forget everything. I wanted to forget about my involvement, about the horrible things I caused to happen. But whenever I lay down to go to sleep, I heard her screams, Morgana's animalistic howls. I saw her cottage blood splattered everywhere. I felt her severed arm, still warm in my hands. From that day on, what sleep I got was hardly restful. Nellie probably didn't notice anything through her feverish haze, but I'm willing to bet I looked like hell. Praying time would cause the memory to fade, I started looking for doctors again. Instead of clinging to a miracle, I would try to have Nellie's sickness cured the way normal people did. At some point though, all that money I'd been given started running low. If I had thought about it for 2 seconds, I would have seen it coming. I hadn't exactly been frugal in my attempts to find a cure for Nellie, nor had I been especially concerned about money before she fell ill. I was so used to living like an aristocrat, and I hadn't succeeded in breaking those old habits. Which left me with only one thing I could do for Nellie, be with her day in and day out. Every day that passed, I lost a little more hope. If I couldn't do anything and Nellie died, I would be utterly alone. And that was what scared me more than anything. The nightmares were eating away at me, leaving me with nowhere to run. And if I didn't have someone there with me, I wouldn't have been able to hold myself together. After 3 or so days of me sitting by Nellie's bedside, hardly moving, there was a knock on the door. Who's there? Who is it? Open the door, unless you want me to kick it down. My suspicion was correct. I couldn't think of anyone else who would come visit. But what I didn't know was why he had come back. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. Open the door. Leave me alone, please. I want nothing to do with anything you're doing. Open the door. No, I'm not letting you in for any reason. Okay, then I'll break it down. Ah, don't. My sister's inside sleeping. I don't need you waking her up. Then open it. Gah. What do you need? I did everything you asked me to already. What happened to the witch's arm? I threw it. I threw it away. Alright guys, I'm going to end the video here for today. Thank you all for watching. This has been a tough read, guys. Another one that's been tough. We knew it was coming, but we had to hear it from Mill's perspective, so... Oh man. Alright guys, we're going to continue on in the next one. So thank you all for watching.